Hi and welcome to this healthy eating video. Let's look at the healthy eating diet and how you can personalize it for you. There is so much conflicting information about food that it is enough to drive anybody absolutely crazy. It seems as though every single day there is something new, there are new findings, there are new ideas. First, a food is hailed as a miracle cure for some ailment, and a short time later they say, well, actually it might do more harm than it actually does good. And then a little while after that they'll say, well, it could do some good, it depends on the circumstances. It's enough to drive you absolutely insane. Fat is bad for you. Fat is good for you. Some fats are bad, some are good. Oh, how can anybody understand what makes a healthy eating diet when there is so much contradictory information? It's a good question, but the answer is more straightforward than all of those contradictory studies may suggest. The most important thing to remember is that every single person is unique. That means what works for one person may not work for you. In fact, what works for millions of other people may not work for you, and vice versa. Think about it. You've got different DNA, you have different likes and dislikes, your food sensitivity is going to be different, you even have different beliefs, and the list can go on and on. And all of these things can have an impact on what constitutes a healthy eating diet for you specifically. Now, believe it or not, you can develop your own personalised healthy eating diet. It's very straightforward. The first step is to simply track everything you eat and everything you drink for the next 2 or 3 weeks. Yep, that means meals, it means snacks, it means drinks, it means every little nibble you may take here and there. The goal here is to get a perfect idea of where your current diet stands. And don't worry, nobody else will see your food journal. So you need to be 100% honest or this just isn't going to work. Now, you most likely start to notice some problem areas as you keep the journal. And it's important that you keep track for the entire length of time though. Don't, as soon as you see one problem, kind of drop it. Keep it up. And you don't need to try and eat healthier just because you're writing everything down. Just eat as normal for a few weeks. The second step is then to actually take a step back and look objectively at the food you actually ate. Okay, now you try to identify the problem areas, such as what time you eat certain foods, how does stress affect the way you eat, or how do different things relate to one another. For example, you find that you eat a lot more junk food when you skip breakfast, or that you actually eat a fattier lunch on Mondays. Now, whatever the case may be, these problem areas are a good place to start making the changes. You don't have to make a complete change, not all at once. That could be too much of a shock for your system, and the temptation to go back to your old eating habits may be very, very strong. And again, this is just going to mess things up. Okay, now go ahead and take smaller steps by first improving the areas that need the most improvement. Once you've improved those, you can move on to the next, and then the next, and so on. Switching to a healthier eating diet doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, the simpler and easier it is, the more likely you will stick with it for the long haul. Now, that makes a lot more sense than getting on the proverbial roller coaster and going up and down for the rest of your life like many people do. Why do that? Instead, start writing your own food journal and take a good look at your current eating habits. Making a few smart changes can ensure you'll be eating healthy before you know it.